Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Here I'll be showing you how I created this painting using gouache. I like the way it sounds using gouache. Anyway, and as always, a full version is available on my Patreon. So if you want to check it out, the links are in the description. In this video, I'll be showing you all the tips and tricks that I use to create this painting. Let's begin. I'm actually using Brustro gouache for this. It's a very affordable gouache brand in my country. Let me know what is yours. Gouache again is a water-based medium, but the trick here is that you can still reactivate gouache when adding water, which is something you cannot do with acrylics. How do you use gouache? There are three basic consistencies to it. The first one is very liquidy, watercolor based, almost like watercolors. The second one is a little bit milky, and lastly, it's the creamy texture. What do I do first is I actually put a very watercolor-like consistency on the paper. I add a lot of water to this, just enough so that it doesn't lose its pigmentation, and I'm like covering up the whole page just to create a gradient. The colors that I've chosen are so pretty, so I'm just gonna put it all over the page. Next, I'm going to repeat the entire process but for the bottom layer, and I'm gonna try to make it more blue compared to the top layer. Don't worry, it's all going to change in the end. Now gouache, when it actually dries, the darker colors tend to dry lighter in shade and the lighter colors tend to dry dark in shade. You can see that I'm putting a very dark shade on paper, but when it dries, it's going to look way lighter. So I'm going to repeat the entire process several times until I finally get the color that I want. Now for the lighter color on the top layer, I am mixing some white. You don't actually put water to lighten up gouache, you put white so that you don't lose the consistency. And now I'm just going to repeat the entire process again, and hopefully this will be the last. As always, I like to work with layers. I'm not someone who directly jumps and starts creating details straight away. I like to slowly build up colors as I go. As I move to the top layers, I use thicker and thicker consistency of gouache. Now I'm just gonna take some very thick consistency, like a creamy consistency, and I'm just gonna create this white blob of color somewhere on the top layers. This is where the lighting is going to strike from. I'm using a flat brush to create textures, and I'm adding a lot of white just to make it more vibrant. And make sure that your bottom layers are dry before you start adding more and more color. Now for the sky, I'm going to go in and put some darker colors around the edges just to make the scene a bit more dark on the top, just to create a lighting gradient in the sky. Now where the lighting is going to strike, I'm going to keep the area surrounding it a bit lighter. So I'm just taking a light blue and I'm mixing violet and light white and creating this grayish color, and I'm putting it on the center. This layer is actually not that pretty. It doesn't need to be because you're just randomly creating gradient. Now let's move to the clouds. I'm going to slowly put these dark colored blobs or patches, and I'm just going to put it randomly on the page. I'm also using a flat brush to take white on half of it and a darker color on the bottom of it so that I can create textures while rotating the brush. This isn't really rocket science. Because I'm creating lighting from the center of the screens, I'm going to try to compose my painting towards the center. So whatever cloud there are, they're going to move towards the center. The darker portions around the edge of the paper, while the lighter colors at the center. Don't worry, all of this will lighten up and I will have to go again. For the cloud layer, I'm not actually using a lot of water because it's easier to create textures with thick paint. Now I'm going to use a smaller brush and create these smaller clouds and also create gradient while doing this. Now wherever the dark clouds are, I like to put light color just beneath it so that it pops, and wherever the light color clouds are, I put darker colors beneath it, and this is how I create gradient. And occasionally I will use a clean soft brush to blend out the colors almost immediately because gouache, it dries very fast. And for the last time, I'm going to add a little bit black to my colors because this thing was not darkening up. So I had to put in black and create this final gradient, hopefully. And you can see how light my clouds are. So I'm just going to put some black in my clouds again and gonna create this final dark colored clouds. And hopefully this will remain the same. I wanted the perspective to be in like the center of the page, so I'm creating bridge according to that. It didn't make sense to make bridge on the side, so also my page is like vertical. The thing about gouache is that you can use lighter colors on top of the darker ones, so this is something that you obviously cannot do in watercolors, so there is a bit of an advantage to this. I'm using this technique and I'm like making a bridge. Now I'm also going to take some tissue and I'm going to like lighten up the area where the lighting is going to strike and also the area surrounding it, just to create this bright effect. And finally, I'm going to make lighting. I'm using a 0 size brush to do this. It's actually a mop brush, but it has a very thin tip, and I'm just taking straight up white and I'm creating this random branch-like appearance. How similar are tree branches and lightning when you try to create them? And finally, I'm going to finish my painting with some blacks and a few more outlines. I'm going to create these waves in the sea. Straight up black, guys. This wasn't even any purple in it. And there it is. My beautiful artwork created using gouache. If you like the video, you can subscribe to my channel, and for the longer version, you can go to my Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.